That is what we had. We had a little bit of pullback yesterday for that, and then transition for tomorrow, waiting for CPI. All right, let me see here. I think I got that showing. All right. All right, let's get through this. Let's get this started. We can spend some time on some other stuff we want to after. All right, so starting it out here with the VIX. So yesterday's day came down in the early session. This is the 10 o'clock prior 6 o'clock candle ends at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock we actually gapped down slightly and then started to elevate up to the 4-hour 9. We rode the 4-hour 9 for the rest of the day. You can see that into the overnight. Popped up, took the 4-hour 20, bouncing off that 4-hour 20. Right now, actually on approach again to the 4-hour 20 for the second run at it. So we are in between the 9 and the 20, and as you guys know, that means we are consolidating in kind of compression, which means there's uncertainty here. This all stems going into tomorrow's CPI. The tape is expecting 0.1% increase as it goes towards inflation. And everything from bond yield pricing yesterday is what kind of give us that uncertainty and give us a little push down. So we'll translate that down here into the ES. You can see we were kind of had a run over the weekend. We came back down, settled out to Friday's levels, and we kind of closed flat. So flat close, elevated again in the overnight slightly, and now we are just broke out of compression between the 4-hour 20 and the 4-hour 9. They are in correct formation. So are the VIXs. 9 on the bottom, 20 on the top for the VIX, 9 on the top, 20 on the bottom for ES. Everything is lined up for what it wants you to look like as a push up here. And that very well may be the case for today. Tomorrow will be very, very erratic. In the morning, we'll have volatility pushing us in both directions. Prior to the print, the print is at I want to say 8:30. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, print is at 8:30. And then we have CPI for month over month, which is the one we're looking for here, and then the full year over year, which is less important for us. And then we have food and energy divided out. So expecting to see um, zero point 0.1 on the CPI month over month from July to August. And so we'll see if that comes true and where we land on that. A negative this is the kind of the inverse scenario again where bad news is good news for the market. So take it with a grain of salt. Tomorrow will be somewhat of a pressure point for us and give us that elastic band feeling as we run through. This will be the determination for the pullback, if we get one or not. I'm leaning towards not getting as steep as one as I thought we were going to get. So I think that this one's going to be very manageable if it happens tomorrow. That being said, that volatility would be very dangerous for short-term contracts. Longer-term stuff, you'd be okay. I like to think of longer term as at least a month and a half out. Shorter term, if you're in profit here, wouldn't be horrible to either hedge or to sell and wait for tomorrow morning's print to pick the other side of that to run. I do believe we head positive from there. We are right on the cusp of the ATH all-time high here, which is only 776.85. So we are right there. We're above the 409, and we were primed to launch. And this is very, very, very tempting. But the volatility is what's going to cause some difficulty. Just keep in mind, we lose the 4-hour 9 on SPY. We are headed to the daily 9, which is 759, 764 as well here on that as well. So we've got that range here where we could have some problems all the way down there. So it's a little bit of a run. 10 points is a lot on SPY, especially in contract terms. but even for stocks too. But stocks, you can absorb this. We're going. We'll know tomorrow too a little more on the direction because that's going to be the major event for the week. We have PPI on Thursday, but it's I don't think we're going to see too much difficulty there. I've been pretty good at these here. Friday's going to be Michigan consumer sentiment, which really shouldn't have as much of an effect as it does, but it gives us a catalyst for them to pull the trigger on it. And then next week, looking in the next week, we've got industrial production, home sales, housing starts, building permits, FOMC minutes, and and then Friday next week we have global PMI, manufacturing and services. So the big one for next week is going to be FOMC minutes. It's 2 p.m. on Wednesday. The reason is that this is going to be analyzed to death because of the lack of guidance that we're getting from them. This is going to be hypercritical for everybody to understand. So expect next Wednesday to be another catalytic event. But tomorrow, I think we actually probably push to the upside after all the volatility. So let's look at everything else and see where we're at. So as I told you yesterday, we would be heading back down to the 63.8 on Bitcoin. We did bounce off, and here we are at the midpoint, just under the daily 9. And so this was kind of exactly as planned in that setup there. Now we need Bitcoin to kind of pick up and recover. Again, this is going to be slower now that we have this here. If we do get that catalyst to push us down at all, expect to see 63,100. But I think it holds there. So that 63.3 will be kind of the breaking point for this to jump or push. Overnight on ES, on the 1 minute here, we've got at 2:30 in the morning, hit our floor-ish roughly there. It's calling the floor here at 8 p.m. Sorry, and 2:30. So we missed the floor. So actually, we've held the floor and run. Our high is 7796. Which we bounced off of almost twice here, and we're at the mid rising point here. We've got quite a gap here to play with in terms of how this run can handle. It translates only to about $1 and change on SPY, so not a big run there. But at the same time, structure wise, pushing up above this here will give us kind of a growth spurt pushing up. The big problem we have right now is oil. Again, U.S. firing on Panamanian ship in the Strait of Hormuz is giving us a little bit of craziness here on oil, pushing us up as high as 84.61, but has since calmed down to this 81.98 range. 81.66 is the low in the overnight. So, we've got a little bit of difficulty here to bounce out of with this. I think it's all transient. I don't think that they see this as too much of a difficulty, but it just adds to the pressure point of CPI tomorrow. So, again, some volatility is expected, and we'll have to manage through that a little bit here. But overall, look at the chart here. Look where we are. We have a nice run up. We've got some compression here on the daily for SPY. This run is definitely we've got a little bit of a trend line we can form here, so we can create some breaking points here if we need to. That'll give us a little bit of strength in determining our run up today. First sign of weakness is losing this line, just connecting the last 3 days. Second one is obviously going to be pulling out of here. But the problem with that is that's 765, daily 9 coming roaring up underneath it. So a lot of room here to move inside this big channel, top, bottom, center line, but that it does give us a kind of a clear path and direction. We're still in uptrend, obviously, and floundering around at the top is not unusual for us here. Going to head over to the Qs real quick. Do some analysis over here. So Qs trading at 723.41. So nice little pump up on the overnight here. Let's switch this on over to our 24 hours, and I'll fix the rest of the chart later. So here's the deal with the Qs. 725 and change. I think it was like 725.60 is where I want to be. It looks like we're headed in the right direction. Bounced off the 4-hour 9 on the RTH here. You can see that very clearly, pushing us up into higher levels. So holding that was key. If we can now take 70, I think it's 725.60. 725.60 will give us the strength to kind of get up to that 728 range, and then we can move in steps and start taking back this gap. If I look left here to the breakdown, we have cleared most of the breakdown, getting into the range here. I guess we're really looking at that next step here, which is the 735 level. So 735 on the 4-hour 9 is the key to getting out of all of this. This will be a difficult area to run for the 4-hour 9 getting up to 735 here. This is going to require a lot of momentum, and we're going to have some major surprises in the market to push us there. Otherwise, we could see pushes up to 728, flounder a little bit, and then hopefully grow up from there before we get any kind of major shock or pullback. So trying to keep an eye on things here for September. Regardless of whatever happens in the next 2 weeks, or a week and a half, I should say, or even tomorrow, we do have to be prepared to start reducing position sizes on any longs getting into September, so into mid-September, just for the volatility that's going to come with the market based upon the election cycle. We want to have cash ready, so you can start planning for that now, what positions you're going to want to start trimming back on as we get into that session. I'm going to jump over to Soxhel real quick here. So, excuse me. Had our pullback yesterday. Closed the day down. We lost Friday's low, which was not ideal. One of the sessions that I wanted to keep was Friday's low. Lost that. We've taken it back today so far. However, what we need to do now is we need to spring back up, take the 4-hour 9 and run that. Right now we have pressure down. 4-hour 50 is my line in the sand on this right now, coming up on London low. So we need to hold the 4-hour 50. Otherwise, we're going to see a little bit of a reversal here on Soxhel. So keep that in mind here. This is going to be your key point here for today to look at how we are attracted to growth on this. Do not think that tomorrow will not give you volatility in Soxhel. Soxhel is going to be one of the most volatile tomorrow. If you're planning to hold on through, that's fine. If you want to hedge, that's probably a great idea. If you are looking to exit, it's going to depend on how you manage your positions. Most people that are in the group here probably won't exit. They'll probably just look to either hedge or hold through because the contracts are long enough. Again, we've got support down here. These two supports did not prove very useful in the last run that we had with Soxhel on the last pullback. They provided us with a great opportunity for the pushback coming back up, but in terms of the support on the lower levels, they weren't the key factors in stopping the drop. We had other catalysts and we had other barriers down there to do that for us. So don't look for these as our support drops here. Look at your 4-hour 50 as your first line of defense in terms of a knowledge base. Know what you're going to do here now, even as this moves and we continue to go up. We're not that far off of where we ran onto for here. We are way up from the bottom at 86. So just take that into consideration and manage your profits accordingly. Don't lose them or not hedge them if necessary. It's just through tomorrow that we'll find the big piece here, and then again next Wednesday that we got to look out for. I'm optimistic that this will be a push through, but I also want to be very, very cautious here with this. Let's look at it on a daily perspective. A lot on the chart here. So we've got this kind of trajectory. This is not a trend line. Let me just take this out of here. Let me take it all out of here. Let's just do this real quick because we got a minute here. Yeah, we got time. So I'm going to take these drawings out of here. I'm going to start over here with this. So first thing I want to do is show you where our support line is. And you can see it's just dead nuts at price right now. So that's our first layer of support here. We need to kind of stay above this pink line. We are currently at it at 129.70 at the close yesterday. We're going to open up higher, which is good. Now we're going to take the next one. That next line for the breakout. Okay, we're looking for the breakout basically here. A little bit lower. So let me just get this one signified here. Boom. and I will lock this one in over here. So there's the breakout level right there. So that we need a breakout. You can see we played right in between those two lines right here. Now let me go to the next level up here as we go up. But you guys, can you see what I'm doing here? Can you see how these lines all correlate with static on the chart? All right, and then this one needs to be straightened out a little bit here. They're all about $10 increments, and this gives us the fight or flight. We've got the pump, right? The back test, the failure, the back test, the pump, right? Pinpoint coming down in the middle here, bounced off of again here, bounce, come up, failure, 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 bounce, bounce. All right. So here we are. We are in the center, or we're at the bottom, I should say, of this first round here. Underneath us, daily 9 as support, like I said, pretty weak. 4-hour 20, okay. We're sitting right at the 4-hour 9, I think, right now. 130, yeah, right below it on the RTH. So what we want to do is we want to head out and take the 143.72. That puts us in here. If we get enough momentum, we'll take them both, and we'll head up to the weekly 9. That would be ideal and very Soxal-like to happen. Next line of support you can see is clearly in this range here, right about, let's bring it here, right about there, like that. And you can see your top out, breakdown, try to break out again, launch, support, 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 launch, failure, support, failure, support, etc. So this is a bigger range. So this is what we want. We want to start in our small ranges here, break out to the next range, break out, and then we have a nice big gap to kind of run with and go. Good news on the table today. Yes. So the good news is that even though the daily 9 isn't acting as a major support for us, what you can see is that it's turned. So we have the daily 9 is turned as of yesterday, day before it has turned, and you can also see obviously that it did, carry us through this April crazy run, which anything could have carried us through there. But look at when we lost the support here. It just didn't supply anything here, nothing here for support at all. Touch points, yes, it kept suppression intact and the breakouts were, but in terms of support on the bottom, not as strong as I would want my SMA to be for there, which is why I have concerns utilizing that as a stop point here. I believe it could give you a false floor and not give you realistic data there. So I'm going to be a little tighter with this. We're looking at the 4-hour 50 on the 24-hour scale. So that's that. But here's your kind of analysis on the daily. And the only thing I could do better with these is try to give you, it's not going to say, I think I could push a button to show you price at labels. There we go. I think that'll do it. Yeah. So I should have done this with all these. But regardless, I think you understand where they are. I'm going to call them out for you right now instead of doing all these here. But so you've got 142. Our current bottom is 129.70. Looking at the top at 189.79 ish or whatever they got there. So, and then you got the other two here, 159.70, 17. It's giving me both sides on this one. I don't want both sides. Price labels. Huh. Okay. Well, let me figure that one out. Regardless, 130 on the close, 135.27 on the open, just battling the 4-hour 9 right now as we speak. So that's the push we're looking for. All right, moving on over to MU and move a little quicker here. So lost that trend line we talked about yesterday. 4-hour 9 in support now, just barely. Compression at the 4-hour 20. So looking for the breakout here. 4-hour 50 right up underneath us right here. So what we want to see is we want to see that 4-hour 50 give us that boost to push us on through the 20 and try to reclaim the trend line, or at least we'll take the 4-hour 9 on the RTH count time frame. This right now in this compression zone right here is typical. We have basically a pretty wide range here of compression. We've fallen out of the wedge that we had there. It's no longer valid. We could re-enter and recreate this because it still does exist on that trend factor here, and then have to still break out here. This still is going to be a point of contention here. 1500 still the target ultimately here. We're just looking for the breakout term, and I think that's going to be later on. I don't think we're going to see that in the short term at all. But what we can do is we could definitely get up into this range and head up towards the weekly 9, and I think that's going to be the targets we start to see as we carry on through the week, assuming that CPI is good tomorrow. All right, CRDO, 10-point range. Actually, that was in the 10-point range. It was just closed down 10. Had much bigger range. We had, what do we have there? 264 to 238. So almost a 30-point range yesterday trading. I'm telling you guys, so it's a lot of fun. Anyway, not clear yesterday on the trading side. I mean, obviously the direction and trend was all in one way, but it would have been very difficult to trade this fighting your cash line versus your trend lines were opposing, and VWAP wasn't helping very much either. So this would have been a very difficult one to trade yesterday, which isn't typical for CRDO, but understandably. You are now in compression 920. You'll notice compression is going to be the big place to be today while we are on the eve of the news tomorrow. CRDO on the daily, you can see we're trying to take back this trend line, and I hope we do, because that was a very, very fun trend line for CRDO on this, and I do think that this is going to be one of the winners that we want to hold on to for the future here. So looking at that, CoreWeave, look at this. CoreWeave just riding this range here. Total range trading, unable to take the top out here, still trying to fight the battles with overages and excess space. So really need to be cautious with this one. We are about at the midpoint. There's a no-go here. There's nothing to do. We're just going to wait. 4-hour 50 on support coming up in here. We have the monthly 9 as support here too. The 4-hour 9 you can see has been erratic. We have a lower high. So if I just take the trend line of the 4-hour 9, you can see that it's a downward trend. We're above that downward trend right now. We'd like to see if we can take that out and push higher. That's where we are right now. AMD, very similar to MU. And you can see we lost that trend line. Not too much yesterday. We had the pullback here, which wasn't horrible, sitting right around that exit line that I had parched. 409 pressing down. Again, we have trending down here, but we are not in compression, right? So we're below that. Typical for where AMD is going right now. It's going to be a little erratic. So let's let AMD do what it does. I probably see AMD try to get back into compression here. Yesterday's dump at the end of the day was kind of unwarranted for that. Tesla. All right, Tesla. We are in the channel. That's conveniently widening for it, which shouldn't be, but I don't have a place to put it yet. So this whole area here, this is compression. You can see very clearly over these couple of days. We have a nice little spurt, compression, and growth spurt. So we're going to bounce off this wall here. 24-hour, 4-hour 9 going to carry us and hopefully push us a little bit higher. If we don't, the downside risk on Tesla is first at the 4-hour 20 and second at the 4-hour 50 here. Again, daily 9's a little bit out of reach. I don't think we see that, but 4-hour 50 holds pretty well for Tesla. So this is where I'm going to be looking for support at 321, which is only $10 away should something happen. Midpoint being the 4-hour 20 here. Anyway, I do think, though, that we hold this trend and we continue to push on higher here with that. So that would be my guess for today with Tesla. SpaceX, it's just being SpaceX, almost done with consolidation up here. Once that consolidation breaks, and if I see it break to the downside, I will add to the position of my short. Weekly 9 is holding strong. We haven't beat that out yet, so just letting this kind of contemplate the issues that we have in front of us right now with these drops. There's a lot of forecasting in terms of how these liquidation events are going to happen. The first one was handled very well in terms of the release of equity and the buying back of that. But that money runs out. That's secondary institutions trying to guarantee and hold positions. Really cheap to buy stock that's being released if you're protecting hundreds of thousands of shares on the other side of it. So we'll see if this one flips back the other way shortly, and if they can do that again on the next drop. Apple. So we have the ceiling up here. We dropped down. We've created another consolidation zone only over the past 24 hours. Nothing major here, but what I don't like is we are below the 409. Have tried to test yesterday. We've got nowhere. It's just sitting here. So this compression, although in an upward angle, is not really giving me a great feeling about Apple today. Here, we do have a trend line here that we can follow. That's going to be my break point for Apple. Again, if it loses this, then we head to 304. And if we lose 304, we're looking at 300 again. So this would be my first indicator, and we're sitting right on it right now as to what I would be doing with Apple. Unfortunate. We've had the nice run over here, but obviously when Apple moves down, people need to pay attention because it doesn't do so typically in a small fashion. It takes a run and then it'll go. Look at the history of this for here. We've got a couple pullbacks and then we take the big one afterwards. Same thing here, pushing back down, and it usually takes a little bit of time. So it's not something that's going to happen in 3 seconds here. It's just understanding the direction. So don't be a frog boiling in water on this one. If we lose this trend line, just read the writing on the wall and let's get this pushed out and wait for a better support area to get back in. Amazon, compression, consolidation. This is really just sitting here. Good news is we're right under the 4-hour 9. We could pick that back up real quick and push us up. I think Amazon is going to float through all of this. We're so close to the breakdown here on this. It's actually performed extremely well with the run that it had. So liking this right here, but we do need to break out. So the downward trend off of the breakout has been broken. That's right here. So we broke that. We're consolidating on that breakout. Now we need to do is actually run or return. So we're going to see that, probably see some action there. We're technically in this compression zone right below 409, but I wouldn't give that too much credibility until about 10 a.m. this morning, when we will see a little bit more about where this goes. Netflix with the surprise run yesterday. So this is just not how I saw this going here, but what right on the trend line, followed it all the way through, popped out. Here we are. So now we're in decision-making time for Netflix in terms of what we're at. We've got our 4-hour 9 has turned. We've went through consolidation and support. That support has held us. I showed you the trend line here. We look at that 4-hour 20 running right along with it all. Everything is here for it to go except for the breakdown. So what's going to give us the breakdown? Well, we're here right now. Right, so this is the first level of breakdown right here. We've got to break out of the 76.36. After that, next level is going to be up here at the 81.85, and then up here 89.03. So we have a lot of big steps to take for Netflix to carry on. The question is which ones are going to be ones worth playing. This is probably that one right here. If we can take and hold 76.31, this will be a nice little run up here, probably about a 10-point run. So what I want to do is say this is really an entry and exit. The only thing I have for support down here really is the trend line. We can't really use the MAs right here. 409 is too far away for contracts to be worth anything. We can extend this trend line up a little bit here, like that. That'll give you something to work off of on the bottom side. But right now, the only place I can put this, so this is to really proceed with caution. Try to hold on the trend line, see if you can get a back test in before we go. Yeah, this one could be a little bit more difficult. Actually, let me just turn this on here. Let me see what we look like here now. Okay, so of course my trend line gets all whacked up like that. I love that. That is not the trend line. The trend line is there. Okay. So that's the trend line here. Then the exit on, we've got the 4-hour 9 here actually in support on the 24-hour. This looks much better, much easier to run here. So there's your play. See if we can get that, squeeze that 10 points out of it. So we are looking for a breakdown to take. Obviously, this MA is different than we were just using, so I'm going to try these numbers too. So 77.05 right there. Once we take 77.05, that's the run, and use your 4-hour 9 as your backstop. This should be an interesting one if it goes. But again, everything else is going to affect this, so probably better to wait for Thursday on this one. Just in terms of the way the market's going. If you do take it now, actually, you could hold a stop on this. It's cheap enough to buy this in shares if you wanted to, or take the leverage ticker. All right, we are getting close to end here, so let me bring us back to the front. We can see where SPY is again. So SPY trading 774.38, so still about a point and change over. ES supporting the theory here with the push. We need to take this 7,800 here. 7,800. We need to take 7,800 to put any movable ground on here. Otherwise, we'll be back testing the 4-hour 20. So first shot at this is going to be probably, looks like it wants to go there first thing. Let's go over to the war chart. Yeah, looks like it's primed up and coiled and ready to take a shot at it first thing, which typically leads to a rejection and a back test. So careful in the morning here. It's going to be a little volatile. All right. How's everything else going for everybody? Anybody else need anything? Apologies for yesterday, but I appreciate your patience with me while I take care of some family stuff. All right, Meta, got it. I see you here. All right, Meta on the 24-hour. Here we are. Oof, flat as a board. What do we got here? Yep. Okay, so on the recovery, we've got a nice, really nice, easily identifiable, easy target here. Trend line. Look at this. Hold on, I gotta do this. I can move over. So Meta looks really healthy here. Following this, this is one of those dream trend lines you get where it's not a lot of days behind it, so don't. It's not gonna last forever, but really nice right here. Like the play here above the 24-hour 9. This is gonna push up here as long as we support this trend line here. So let's see. Losing. Yeah, what we do need to do is break out though, because we keep toppling over here. We did obviously yesterday take a run at it. If we fail at that again on that breakout, we will suppress back down to this trend line here. As you can see, tap back here. And if we don't hold that, then we'll be headed back over to 581. Otherwise, a breakout from this point right here gives us a chance at actually getting to the daily 20, which we need to break out from. So it's on a nice trajectory, slow. It doesn't look to me like we're going to see anything radical here on this. It looks like we're trading in trend and range. So breakouts are to come. If I had to kind of prove this in a point, I would draw a flat top and look at this as almost like a wedge, and your top almost being this 3-hour 70, excuse me, 4-hour 370, 4-hour 200 line here. So something like, let me just give you a rough line for that. Something like this. Okay, so we need to break out above that to in order to actually take a run. So coming up here and rejecting in this range here will bring us back to the bottom, and then like I told you what to expect after that. Anything else on Jake, or anything else?
No. Are we what do you think about coin in the coming week?
So, coin, on earnings was expected here on the dump. I'm not particularly excited about it because of the way Bitcoin's reacting right now. I think that coin's going to struggle here. Double bottom, I love, right? So this kind of scenario, the issue is obviously we've got a lower low here on the second test, so that's not helpful. If I draw a line like that, you can kind of see it here. And so kind of drooling down lower, but my push on this one is probably going to be testing lows again before we get higher. So I don't see us going up to these higher levels yet. All right. As far as next week, our targets are we're in a tough range here. Look back here. This has actually been a pretty good support. Oh, this is all the way back in February. And prior to that, we go down. So Yeah, coin may have a difficult time here. There's going to be a large gap if it comes down and loses this level. So we need to hold that. So that's your floor is that 139-ish range there. If we are able to take the 409, which is floundering right here, we'll get into compression. That's going to take a day or two, and then we could push up. We'll have to fight the daily 50 here. 4-hour 50 isn't going to give us too much static. You can see it's kind of irrelevant in this. But we'll push on up through and hit the daily 50. Daily 50 is going to reject, which is going to cause us to consolidate. So I expect for coin to live in this region for quite some time here, a couple days at least.
God damn it.
Hey, B.
Wow.
All right, so what else we got? All right, there's the pullback on the run, the open here coming up in. Oh, we're open. That's it. Let me get this printed out and pushed out to you guys on the live. I see you, Chris, typing. I'll hold for you. Yes, of course. Microsoft, and let me just get my. Here we go. All right, Microsoft. Look at that. Nice run. One of those unsustainable runs, but look at that run though, huh? Wow. Earnings really played out for Microsoft on this one here. So short term, we've got 4-hour 9. You can see very, very clearly that the testing and respect levels here. Our first pullback on here that crossed the 4-hour 9 right here on August 4th. Held. We had a second penetration here. 4-hour 20 gave way, and then we boosted back through. Again here, 4-hour 20 held. So it's flattening. So how do I know it's flattening a little bit? And that could be it's consolidating and then it could go up. But look at the trajectory here is like this, and then from here it's starting to round, right? So that's what we look for in terms of topping. And then what we do is try to find the trend lines that support it. The problem with these trend lines here is that they don't quite add up into anything short term that's going to make a whole lot of sense here. It's just too much activity here on these runs. So I'm going to erase all of that real quickly here and show you what I really think here. So flattening out here with the 4-hour 20, we have the daily 9 right here and the 4-hour 50 consolidating right here. This range right here of MAs is a great support block for proving ground for Microsoft. I think it's getting close to needing to do that. Both are in support, one at 60 degrees, one at 85 degrees. So I think we're going to get that bounce there if we get down to here, and I do think it needs to find it at some point in time here. The 4-hour SMAs are great for short term as we run, but we've been in this trajectory for a long enough time where a structural support would matter here. So I do expect to see that in the next couple of days. Probably see that. If we do, for some reason, hold that 4-hour 20, then obviously picking off this high here at 513 would be your difficult task, and difficult because the rejection was pretty steep. We had a straight run up and it was clear slam back down on that. So, but we've seen it in the past, consolidate and then run. But I'd like to see this get down. We got 4-hour 9 here. If we lose the 4-hour 9, we're headed to the daily 9 here. So I'd like to see it back test here and be done with, and then it could try to continue on upward. Also, for Microsoft, in the past, these tops have ended in weeks long consolidations. So we could be several days into that consolidation, and that would also make sense here too. So be cautious here at the top. If you're in longer positions and you're looking to wait and see, this isn't going to break out and run to 1,000,000 miles an hour right here. We are determining whether we're going to create a nice steady growth or we're going to create a pullback here first. So those are the two options I see on the table. This is not going to turn into a 500-mile-an-hour run like we just had over here. All right. So caution. If you want an exit point for here, hard to say, but I would probably say your 4-hour 50. I want to say the daily 9, but I don't have a test here in front of me. So I'd say the 4-hour 50 here as long as it's below the daily 9, and then I'd invert that once it passes it. All right. What else we got? Yeah, no problem, Chris. All right, we're looking at that pullback here on SPY on the open, 409 right below. Yeah, we're still in yesterday's trading range. So let's see that volatility come through. Let me get you guys, here's the bounce that we're looking at here. Excuse me, the bounce, the drop that we're looking at here on the open. And London low 7767 would be the ultimate target for this, with 4-hour 20 as support underneath. 4-hour 20, I think I told you earlier on this chart, would be the bottom that we'd be looking to turn this in. We are now in compression. All right, guys, I am going to get this thing printed and pushed out to everybody, and I will see you on the trading floor. I see you, Super B. I'm going to do that while I take your thing here. So I'm going to end this call on this. Yes, Jim Daddy's on vacation. He is on a boat. Maybe tomorrow.